This coming Sunday, on the Catholic feast of St. Peter's and Paul, Pope Leo XIV will preside at St. Peter's Basilica to bless and bestow the pallium upon 48 new metropolitan archbishops. It's an ancient and weighty ceremony, rich in symbolism, that marks a profound moment of unity and pastoral mission in the Catholic Church. This year's ceremony holds special significance. Not only does it restore a practice altered by Pope Francis in 2015, but it also serves as a farewell liturgy of sorts before Pope Leo retreats to Castel Gandolfo for his summer rest. The pallium is a narrow circular band of white wool with 2 pendants that hang down the chest and the back, and adorned with 6 black crosses and 3 small pins, or spinulae. It recalls Christ's passion, specifically the nails that held him to the cross and the wounds of the Good Shepherd who lay down his life for his sheep. More than a mere ornament, the pallium symbolises a metropolitan archbishop's pastoral authority within his ecclesiastical province, and crucially his bond of communion with the Bishop of Rome. It's a visible sign that the shepherd carries the lost, the weak, the wounded upon his shoulders, leading them to the waters of life. As Pope Benedict the 16th once put it, the wool from the lamb signifies the archbishop's duty to bear the weight of the people's needs, sorrows and hopes, an image drawn from the parable of the shepherd who finds the lost sheep and carries it home. The tradition of bestowing the pallium dates back to at least the 6th century, with some evidence of cloak-like precursors worn even earlier. By the 9th century, it had become a standard requirement for all metropolitan bishops in the Latin Church. The vestment's material is no accident. Historically, each January the 21st, on the Feast of St. Agnes, 2 young lambs were blessed by the Pope at the Basilica of St. Agnes, and their wool was entrusted to Benedictine nuns who wove it into the pallia. And this practice embodied not only pastoral imagery, but a kind of liturgical ecology, a reverence for creation, bound to sacred purpose. And though the formal blessing of the lambs was suspended under Pope Francis, the pallium remains crafted from lamb's wool, preserving this layered symbolism of reverence, service, and care. Until 2015, it was customary for the Pope to impose the pallium directly onto the shoulders of new archbishops in Rome. Pope Francis changed this, having the pallia blessed in Rome but delivered in local liturgies by the Apostolic Nuncio. And this shift was meant to emphasize the bond between archbishop and local church. Pope Leo XIV, however, has chosen to restore the older custom, and this Sunday he will both bless and distribute the pallium personally, reinforcing the archbishop's communion with the successor of Peter at the very altar of the apostles. And before the ceremony, the pallia will rest in a niche beside the tomb of St. Peter, beneath the main altar, an eloquent sign of apostolic succession and unity with the Church of Rome. As St. John Paul II once told new archbishops, the pallium is not merely a sign of authority, but a privileged communion with the See of Peter, visible foundation of unity in doctrine, discipline, and love. This year, 8 US archbishops will travel to Rome for the ceremony, including Cardinal Robert McElvoy of Washington, Archbishop Richard Henning of Boston, and others from Detroit, Milwaukee, Kansas City, Oklahoma, Cincinnati, and Galveston, Houston. Archbishop Ryan Pagenti of Guam will also receive the pallium, and these people will be invested by Pope Leo XIV himself. That marks a personal consecration to service and a public affirmation of their role as unifiers and teachers of the faith within their provinces. The moment at St. Peter's Basilica will be Pope Leo's last major liturgical act before departing for the cooler hills of Castel Gandolfo, the papal summer residence south of Rome. After years of disuse, Pope Leo is restoring that tradition too, and he will spend much of July there, celebrating Mass with local communities, including the Feast of the Assumption on August the 15th. It's a striking pattern of this pontificate, a careful restoration of meaningful traditions, not as nostalgia but as living signs of pastoral closeness and continuity. So as he imposes the pallium on Sunday, Pope Leo will embody the very unity he seeks to strengthen between Pope and bishops, among the faithful, and in the Church's mission to proclaim the gospel with love, patience, and courage. And in bestowing these woolen bands, simple, ancient, and profound, he sends out shepherds who must carry Christ's flock upon their shoulders and lead them home. As Pope Leo prepares to retreat to Castel Gandolfo, this ceremony offers us a meditation on authority as service, on tradition as living memory, on the Church's tireless mission to care for the lost and the weak. And I hope these new archbishops will wear their pallia, not as marks of privilege, but as reminders of the weight they bear for the people of God, a weight carried ultimately in union with Christ the Good Shepherd, who became the Lamb for us all.